Hello everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Camden Reviews. I would like to preface this episode by including something that you may consider a disclaimer. And that is that this episode, surprisingly enough, actually follows a script. Slightly. Not completely. So I have an outline, so if you see me checking my laptop, that's why. So yeah. Not a complete script though. I'm still, kind of ad-libbing this. It's more of a rough outline, if you will. So, anyways, let's discuss Fiddler on the Roof.
Tradition!
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back for the third episode of Camden Reviews. Today I will be reviewing the masterpiece of a musical that is known as Fiddler on the Roof. Essentially, Fiddler on the Roof is a musical about a man whose name is Tevye, and you're going to have to keep track of these names. It's real difficult because it's very Jewish and they're all very hard to spell. So if for some reason, which you should, hint, want to look further into this musical, I'll spell the names out on screen so that, it's easier to, find what they are. So anyways, Fiddler on the Roof, it's a musical about a man whose name is Tevye, and he has 5 daughters, and he's trying to marry them out. And it takes place in pre-revolutionary Russia, so around 1905. So there's no Bolsheviks yet. Well, there is Bolsheviks, just, not as big. And it's a very, small and secluded town. So, they're very alienated from the rest of Russia. And, that comes up a couple times. And basically, the musical opens with a song called Tradition, which connects back to the main theme of the musical, which we shall discuss. Oh, don't you worry, we'll discuss it. And one of the first things that Tevye, who's, the main character, one of the first things he says is,
"But in our little village of Anatevka, you might say every one of us is a fiddler on the roof, trying to scratch out a pleasant, simple tune without breaking his neck."
I think that about encapsulates the entire theme, which we shall discuss later. Let's just say Fiddler on the Roof is not necessarily about a fiddler on the roof. It's metaphorical.
Tradition! Marriages must be arranged by the papa.
Welcome back, everybody. Right now, we are about to discuss the story of Fiddler on the Roof as the transition that was just shown to you, so described. I think we should hop right in. Because, man, am I eager to tell you about this. But actually, no, I'm not eager to tell you about the story. I'm eager to tell you about the characters. So, as I've previously mentioned, the main character of this musical, his name is Tevye, and he's a poor Jewish milkman in the town of Anatevka, which is the setting. He has a wife named Gold, and he has 5 daughters. He has 6 or 7 in the book, because this musical is based off a book called Tevye's Daughters, but their names are Titzel, Hodel, Chava, and I probably butchered most of those. Yente, or however you want to say it, she is the matchmaker of the town. So, she's trying to find by the way, Titzel's the oldest of the daughters and usually takes the spotlight. You know what, why am I doing this? I already wrote a script for this anyway, it's stupid. Now, here's my totally original synopsis of the play. It's not a play, it's a musical. Of the musical Fiddler on the Roof. So, as the play begins, Tevye, a Jewish milkman, tells of the customs in the little Russian town of Anatevka. It is 1905, and life here is as precarious as Fiddler on the Roof. Yet, through their traditions, the villagers endure. At Tevye's house, his wife, Gold, and their 5 daughters prepare for Sabbath dinner when Yente, the town's matchmaker, arrives. She tells Gold she has a possible match for Titzel, their eldest daughter. The girls speculate about whom they will marry someday, but Titzel says they must take whomever Yente arranges for them. Ironically, she has already secretly pledged her love to Motel Kamzoil, a tailor, who has yet to find the courage to ask Tevye for her hand. As Tevye makes his deliveries around town, he prays, asking what harm there would be if he were a rich man.
If I were a rich man.
He meets and takes a liking to Perchik, a student from Kiev, and offers to hire him as a tutor for his 2 youngest daughters. When Tevye returns home, Gold informs him that he is to meet Lazar Wolf, a wealthy butcher who is Tevye's age, following the Sabbath meal to discuss a proposal. Tevye believes Lazar Wolf wants to buy his milk cow, but soon discovers that the proposal is that of a marriage to Titzel. you may have noticed an outfit change, and it's definitely not because the mic died in the last recording. Anyways, Tevye is not very fond of Lazar Wolf. He agrees knowing that his daughter will never starve. They celebrate with others from the village at the local tavern. On his way home, the Russian constable stops Tevye and warns him of an upcoming demonstration. The following day, Tietzel and Motul plead with Tevye to rethink her marriage arrangement to Lazar Wolf and consider Motul instead. Tevye eventually agrees, but how to break this news to Gold? He creates a story where Gold's grandmother and Lazar Wolf's late wife, Fruma Sarah, appear to him in a dream and threaten to curse Tietzel if she marries Lazar Wolf. Gold believes this is a sign and agrees to the match. Tietzel and Motul are married in a traditional Jewish wedding ceremony, which is unfortunately disrupted by the constable's demonstration. Meanwhile, Tevye's second daughter, Hodel, has fallen in love with Perchik. They break tradition by telling Tevye that they love each other and will be married, asking only for his blessing and not his permission. This causes Tevye and Gold to contemplate their own marriage and love for each other after 25 years. Perchik promises to send for Hodel and leaves for Kiev to work for the revolution. He is arrested and sent to prison in Siberia. Hodel decides she must go to him, a decision that her father eventually supports. Weeks pass, and Tevye's third daughter, Chava, has fallen in love with a Russian villager named Fyedka. She pleads with her father to be allowed to marry him, but marrying outside the Jewish faith is unacceptable to him, and he forbids her to see him again. The next day, Chava and Fyedka secretly elope, and Chava is disowned by her family. The trouble continues as the Russian constable tells all the Jewish villagers they must pack up and leave Anatevka within 3 days. Everyone prepares to leave as they reminisce about their miserable little town that so many have called home for so long. Chava and Fyedka come to say goodbye and make peace. Tevye refuses to look at her, but it has Tietzel wish her well before they all depart, the fiddler playing, as they exit.
Wasn't hiding.
So, the theme. Fiddler on the Roof has if you ask me, it has a very fitting theme, considering the setting of early 19th century Russia, because if you remember from earlier, Tevye says,
Trying to scratch out a pleasant, simple tune without breaking his neck.
And when it comes down to it, the beauty of the themes of Fiddler on the Roof is that there's no clear answer to what the theme is. If you look at the theme on Google, which obviously I would never do, it says, being reliant on tradition and faith of times of change and turbulence. I mean, I definitely think that might be the most prevalent one, but the title of Fiddler on the Roof is in itself a metaphor for an uneasy experience. In my personal opinion, the most prevalent theme in the musical is that of the natural feeling humans of change, since we're creatures of habit, and that might just be a restatement of what Google says the theme of this musical is, but who's keeping track anyway? The entirety of the first song is actually, it explores the theme because, Tevye says,
Because of our traditions, we've kept our balance for many, many years. Here in Anatevka, we have traditions for everything. How to eat, how to sleep, how to wear clothes.
Or, in Tevye's monologue, which is essentially Tevye calling everyone else in the world, namely big cities like Moscow and Paris, woke liberals for denying the traditional style of the father of the family arranging marriages.
They gave each other a pledge. Unheard of. Absurd. Where do you think you are? In Moscow? In Paris? Where do they think they are? America?
In short, this musical heavily deals with the idea of one coming to realize the issues with traditions, some of them even thousands of years old. This all connects back to the title of the musical, Fiddler on the Roof, wherein everyone in life lives as a fiddler on the roof, trying to scratch out a pleasant, simple tune without breaking their neck. Call me nitpicky, and so you might say I'm overanalyzing this, but I feel like the words pleasant and simple were very intentional, with pleasant showing the content feeling that most men have with their mediocre lives, and with simple meaning that most men do not try to explore a more complex lifestyle outside of their tradition. So yeah, that's the theme. Something like that.
But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever.
The music of Fiddler on the Roof is definitely why this is my second favorite musical. Perhaps sometime I'll review my most favorite. Probably not, but hey, you never know. Basically, klezmer music is unrivaled. For those of you who don't know, klezmer music is like a Jewish trap music, featuring a clarinet playing in its higher range and a violin. It's usually in minor keys, even though sometimes it's major. And then this show, yeah, for the most part, they're all in minor keys. A good example of klezmer music would be excerpts from Fiddler on the Roof, variations, and a cadenza, where you can hear the duet between the violin and the clarinet. The other thing that I love about the musical is the motifs. For example, you have the there's usually a big variation in the orchestration, but the true genius comes when you realize that the more Tevye develops, the more dramatic the motif becomes. For example, the musical opens with just one single violin playing the melody. With Tevye's monologue, nearly the entire orchestra plays it.
I cannot allow tradition!
Another example of what I like about the composition is in Do You Love Me? Tevye sings the main melody.
Gold. Do you love me?
But then Gold sings a counter melody to show the confusing air around their artificial love.
Do I love you?
All in all, I may be biased towards the musical Fiddler on the Roof because I love classical music, but there's no denying that Jerry Bach, who is the original composer of Fiddler, did a great job of writing the story into the music, just like how it was written in the dialogue. In conclusion, Fiddler on the Roof is a very good show and you should all listen to it, even if you don't like Broadway. Good shows. Bye-bye.